Good morning, Warriors. Back with another episode of Vigor Warriors 2 in the 1% Club. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are staying your purpose. I want to do one early this morning because I'm out working in the yard and doing a bunch of things, but I wanted to kind of get this one in. Thank you so much for the comments and subscriptions and likes. I think we're over 450 now, so we're trying to get to 500 and continue moving onward. And I appreciate all that. Thank you to a number of people who've been sending in information. Mark, I think I'm going to do one on, you talked about, you had a nice comment about adding to semen retention and intermittent fasting, Gigong, and a bunch of other things. We'll talk about that. And I think you're right. I think the brain does reset at a certain point, and you kind of get back to that normal type of feeling. So we'll do that. We're also going to talk about, maybe I try to combine a couple of these two. Junior and Carl had talked about the real effects instead of the myth that we had talked about that one time, and we'll focus on that a little bit. I think today what I'm going to do is focus on Manuel's comment, Manuel Strong, talked about anger and retention. So we're going to talk about that a little bit, how to deal with that. And prostrate and retention, friends, and also tantra. He had a couple of good points about that. And then I have using cues to help you semen retention, and also having confidence in semen retention is also two other ones that I want to kind of focus on. There was a nice video that I saw through Artistic Motivation that did that. So, all right, before we start, let's go ahead and subscribe, like, comment, whatever we do to kind of help you guys along with this journey. Donate. I try to put the donation thing in there when I remember it, and I'll stick it in there this time as well. And if you feel in it's your nature and you can afford to donate, that'd be great. Let's talk about anger a little bit. I remember doing this one a week ago when I had lost some energy from an emotional stress avenue. And let's kind of talk about that a little bit. So Manuel Strong had a real good comment talking about anger and how you have to be very careful with semen retention. And we talked about this when we talked about dangers of semen retention. It seems like a lot of you like that one. And the idea that we're talking about here is the fact that you have a superabundance of energy. You may not realize this, and I think as Mark as Mark mentioned, talking about resetting and to kind of add the dopamine and bring it back. And so you have to realize what's happening here is that you're becoming a whole man again. Instead of going to a half a person that's losing all their energy, you're becoming a whole person. And a strong, vigorous, you have a high vitality, a strong male. And because of that, you're going to have a lot of energy. Now, if you're going to sit there and do nothing with it, this is why we say that retention is the first part of it, just like as Mark's talking about, and all the people are talking about. This is a lifestyle, part of a lifestyle change. So when I started this with the Fountain of Youth, and I will do one on that one over the next week or so. The Fountain of Youth is something that's important as far as me getting into trying to say, what's the best person I become? When I was in my late 30s, and because of football I had played back in high school and college, I had so many injuries that it was very difficult to kind of walk around at 35 years old. And so I didn't have any serious, I had a finger operated on, and leg injuries a little here and there, but nothing serious. But I had a lot of, hard to move, not arthritis, but pains and all kinds of, trouble doing things. And I just didn't feel good. And so I found this book called The Fountain of Youth, and 1998, I believe it was, and it talked about exercises that really kind of went to the core. And obviously part of the core is down by your reproductive system. And they were talking about chakras and that sort of thing, and that we generate energy every day through those chakras. And the exercises and things that we do tend to stir that up. And as you're stirring that up, the theory and idea is that that is going to continue to generate your energy, all those chakra areas, and I think there was 7 of them that I had looked at. And so the whole idea is to try to keep those moving, and that's how you stay young. Eventually, you are going to get to the point where you really can't. I mean, those are moving slow enough, and when you move slow enough, this is when you end up, having sickness and illness and all those type of things. And so, I adopted that philosophy over the last 20 some years through brahmacharya and the other things that I've kind of read about, and those things really tend to work. And so back to Carl and Junior mentioning, these things really do worked for me. Now, I didn't do the 6th one because it kind of said, well, you have to be ready for that. And I don't think I was ready for that for a long, long time. And the 6th one really is talking about celibacy, transmuting your energy through your body through an exercise that you're standing up and then breathing in and out, kind of, and I'll kind of show you doing this in one of those videos I'll do with it, is actually using that energy and transmuting it in the rest of your body. And that you become a superhuman person that way, super energy. And so this is really a key type of thing. So this is energy that you continue to grow on. Now, I'm 61, and so by the time, you get to your 20s and 30s, you have so much abundance of energy that it's almost unstoppable. Now, because of that, the other part of this whole thing, as you're doing your exercises and you're keeping your energy, is that you have to use your energy for something. If you just sit around and you're just going to stay on the couch all weekend and play video games, or you're going to sit and just eat and you're not going to do anything with all this energy, you're going to become very highly frustrated. And I've seen that happen as well. And because of that, then you could get angry. And this is where people have reported having negative effects, but they're not really doing anything besides retaining. And retaining is a great start, but what retaining does is it gives you a chance to learn self-discipline. So Manuel, you're right on target with this. This is not an easy type of thing. And so and I do think that we talk about, flatlining, we talk about these things. There's times that you're going to go through ups and downs a little bit. I have found that as I'm up to 782 days, I'm now becoming pretty steady. I have a sane, positive feeling. I have a lot of stress going around. We're adding a couple more animals in a family, and car issues, all kinds of financial types of issues running around. But I don't feel the same way as I did. And this is why I know it's real. I feel different. I feel stronger. I feel like that I'm not scared or anxious. I feel like it's all going to work itself out. And I feel like that this is going to be just another step into solving another issue and solve another problem. But if you don't work on things, this is why I have a lot of hobbies. This is why I do a lot of things with my family. If you don't get away from, obviously, the internet, and get away from the phone, and get away from the television, and get away from all those things, and you don't have any goals and purposes, it is easy to go back in and get angry and frustrated, especially if you don't see the benefits. Now, the other thing that happens, guys, is that, and I'm at a different point in life because I'm, I've been happily married for 30 some years, and I don't really want to have any relationships or anything like that at this point. And I'm not interested in women the same way as a lot of you guys are. Not that I don't find women attractive, and not that I will get excited at times. I have to kind of control that. But I'm at a different type of level. To me, it's very flattering to get all the attention and all the types of nice looks and things like that. Because the thing is that that's a flattering thing to me, because that did not happen to me when I was younger. And I didn't understand any of this kind of stuff until then, until recently. And so now it's a more of a flattering type of thing. But for you guys in your early 20s and middle 20s, early 30s, you're at the point where you're really trying to look for someone maybe to start a family, maybe not, but maybe to have somebody in your life. And this is a good avenue to kind of look at that. But also, don't get to the point where you're releasing energy, and wasting energy on people, making sure this is the kind of person that's going to kind of give you all the things that you're looking for when it comes to any kind of relationship you have with somebody. And that's a key. Key is not only just the how good does she look, or how good is the relationship you have with her from a physical standpoint, but really what you're talking about is the values and ideas that you have with the person. So that's why this is another one of those great positive type of things that if you can hold off and if you can have self-control and not get intimate too quickly, you're able then to find you can find some of that. You can find out whether the person has a lot of connections and values that you have as well, and that's going to help you then when it comes to actually making a decision on this person. So some of the frustration and anger comes from people who are still looking to use semen retention as a way to attract women and things like that. And yes, it will attract women if you do it, but the key is that should not be the purpose you're doing it. You should be striving to become the best person you can be. And as you achieve your goals and do your things, the women will be chasing you. Because that's just the way life is. No matter what they tell you, all these blue matrix things and all these videos putting out there, that who's the table and all that kind of stuff. Biologically, you don't want to be a simp out there chasing people. That's a style that, in my book, is long past. It's a case that you see a lot of times people are doing it, MGTOW and all these movements where men, I think, begin realizing that they're more value than they were given over the last 20, 30 years. And are realizing that women really want strong men. They don't want to do all these type of things that men do. And you're seeing more and more videos like this all the time. And so I think you have to kind of think about that and say, I don't really need to go ahead and chase women. When I'm on my purpose, when I'm doing my things, women will come to me, and then if the person really likes you or not, because they're making the first move. Going out, in my book, going out and chasing women around is really kind of wasting energy and time, and so you want to kind of avoid that a little bit. All right, so the other anger, and I got a little went down the wrong throat here. But the other thing is that as you're looking at anger and you're looking at trying to reasons for anger, the idea that you really want to focus on too is the frustration level. And I believe that part of it too goes back to the whole idea of edging. We talked about this in another video, but I really believe in monk mode now. And I thought edging was fine. But as I think someone mentioned yesterday, and I don't know if it was, it might have been Ryder 271, that you're going to have a horrible day afterwards. And that's true. That's happened to me many, many times. And I think what you have to do is kind of think to yourself, okay, I need to get away from all this. And reset, as Mark's saying, reset dopamine and reset yourself. And you can do that by basically focusing on the goals and moving away and transmuting whatever time it comes, the energy you have. And so as you look at this, you're going to try to build those chakras and keep those moving and exercise the things that you're doing. So, but the anger is going to be there for a lot of reasons. Now, how do you go through the anger? Well, again, what you want to do is a number of things. So you want to focus on your goals and have goals. You've got to set goals. You got to say, this is what I want to do in the next 2 months, 2 years, 5 years. Keep moving ahead with your goals. Also, make sure you combine a lot of things, and we'll do a separate one on this. I think Mark talked about this a little bit. Get yourself involved in exercises, activities, hobbies, whatever it might be. Get your mind to the point where you're not going to be tempted. Now, because your brain's been wired, and I had this for 40 some years, it is still difficult to sometimes not get caught in the middle of the night or something like this where you're thinking about things and going back and rehashing things, because you did so many times, your brain is learned in your brain. And to be able to stop that and move forward takes time. That's why the Longer you take with this, the harder it is. You guys, I admire you guys in your 20s, starting this stuff now. It's great that the Lord has given you this knowledge early. I think there was a reason for me not to get it early, and so I've been battling this thing since I was, I don't know, 20 years old. I knew that some of this was wrong, and but it took me until I was 57 to actually start this long streak. But now I'm ready for it, obviously, and so I don't have that issue as much. In fact, once you hit a certain point, and I think maybe it was Ryder 272, I think it was again, or 271, said this, and basically said that after a while you reset, and once you get to, I think he was at 140 days, you get to the point where you're moving forward, and now you're not really thinking about it that much. So the more you can concentrate on getting things done, the better off you're going to be. And so this is another way to kind of overcome that anger. And then the final thing too I would recommend is deep breathing as you're meditating. As you realize you're mad about something, take a step back, breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Okay? And calm yourself down. Nothing is that important that you're willing to kind of have a heart attack about it. And things will all work itself out. Even this crazy, crazy world we're in right now, God is the important thing to focus on. And pray to your God. Pray that you can meditate, breathe in and out, and be able to kind of reduce that anger. I don't always follow this as best I should in the past, but there's always, they say, a 10-second rule. Okay? Breathe in and out for 10 seconds, and then see if you're still angry. What ends up happening with anger, by the way, interesting type of thing, is that, like any emotion, the anger is in your brain. If you're able to take deep breaths, and this is the same thing for sleeping, by the way, if you breathe in and out, what you're having is your oxygen is now moving and changing your brain. And it's in your brain, clouding your brain. So now what's happening is that thought that was there is moved over, is pushed out. That's why when you go through a tough, stressful situation, you're not remembering other things. As we said before, it's almost impossible to think about two things at the same time. In fact, physics says you can't do it. You can think about one and then the other, but not simultaneously. Therefore, if you're thinking about, women or things like that, pictures, take a couple deep breaths and relax. If you're angry, take a couple deep breaths and relax. And eventually, if you bring it long enough and even hold your breath for a little bit, you'll find that your thought patterns will change. Obviously, you're more concerned about taking a breath than you are. And in a way, that's okay. At least as long as you don't hold your breath forever, right? That you're able then to kind of forget about that anger. So once again, another way that we lose energy. So anger and those type of things are important. But you want to kind of learn this self-discipline. I think as Mark talked about, we'll do a video on all the other things that we've added. We've talked about this before, but I want to bring it back a little bit. Talking about intermittent fasting and cold showers, all this kind of stuff that I think can highlight you, and especially as you get older, your testosterone, things like that too. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you so much for your comments. And once again, Manuel, I hope this helps a little bit. Obviously, I don't know. I've experienced it, so it's about all my experiences I have on this. Hopefully, it helps you guys out a lot as well. So, Manuel, have a great day. A shout out to you today. Thank you so much. God bless you guys. Have a great day today, and we'll talk soon.